Well, hello everybody. My name is Christian Silali. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a proud CSUN alumni and I graduated from the social work program back in 2018 with my Master of Social Work. I currently work as a mental health therapist at the Village Family Services in North Hollywood. My cases, they vary from outpatient, which is like people who just kind of come in, just need just general kind of therapy, to more higher intensive cases, which are usually through, the court, whether that's children in foster care or children who have, you know, entered the system, situations like that. I am always on call to be able to respond to any crisis that may come up. So I feel like I'm always working and my schedule really never stops. But that's community based mental health for you. I found my position through the recommendation of a friend who worked there. So it's very true what they say. It's important to stay connected to each other and to professors and people you know because, building your network will truly help open up doors for you. When it comes to looking for a job, I always feel kind of like feel the place out during my interview, whether that's like looking around at kind of like signs, messages that they have, to kind of get like the vibe of the space. I try to figure out like, is this a safe space for someone like myself who identifies as trans? What will that look like working here? And one of the ways I try to kind of bring that into my conversation to kind of get more of a feel of kind of where the agency stands is by asking them about services for LGBTQIA plus community, what that looks like for them, and kind of what their what their mission is in serving that population. And a person's response to that question can definitely say a lot in regards to kind of like the atmosphere of the agency and the culture. You know, I think that it is something that personally I am I tend to always have on my mind, just thinking about safety, things like restrooms, and kind of navigating the space where, I think, is this going to be somewhere where I'm going to be safe to be open about my identity or not? So these are things that are always on my mind when thinking about a job. I feel that being in social services, I am afforded, more welcoming spaces than, say, if I were to be in a different career. And so I think with that, it's important to understand, like, what are the potential rewards and consequences, of being open with one's identity or sexual orientation. In this instance, it's kind of like, what are my boundaries and my non-negotiables? And does this agency respect that or cross that? So I'm a very pretty private person, and I've always kind of struggled with meeting new people and kind of like what that meant around my gender identity and kind of like that fine line of like, do I tell you? Do I not? Do I just allow you to assume I'm cis? Like, where does this go? And I think it's still a dance that I'm learning how to dance and navigate to. But personally, like, I don't feel the need to have to share my identity to others. Um, and I want to recognize that I can say that from a place of having the privilege where, I can choose to disclose or not, right? I do have coworkers who know and I feel comfortable with, but they also know I'm not necessarily open at work. And I like to honor those I feel connected to the opportunity to know me on that level. But I don't feel it's something that everybody needs to know. I think that just goes back to, my conversation around boundaries and safety. So my pronouns are on my resume, they're on my email signature, they're on my cover letter, on all my emails. I introduce myself with my pronouns at work, out of work. At first it felt strange, and I'm not gonna lie, I still get those like funny looks and kind of like wide eyes, but I've kind of learned to ignore it and just say, what I have to with confidence. I've learned that the best way to teach is by modeling. And when I use my pronouns, I'm modeling to others in hopes that they pick it up and do the same. And, at times I do have people who have asked why I say my pronouns. And I really connect it back to, being mindful and not assuming people's identities and really wanting to make sure that I'm creating a space that is respectful and safe for others. I think that as a social worker, my role is to actively work against kind of those oppressive practices and embrace diversity. And, I'm the person everyone knows in the office who will be critical and always talking about social justice and how can we continue to think critically and expand and do things differently, you know but again, I really think that's because of the field I'm in, that I have the privilege to be able to have those conversations. And unfortunately, that's not the same across all fields. But I always encourage people to kind of stay true to who they are, um, and kind of be as authentic as they feel safe. And professionalism is something that is ever changing, and I'm a person who goes into work wearing my cultural shirts from Mexico, and I'm like one of the few people who wear it, while everybody else is, in like more professional, right, professional attire. But I think that being yourself, and redefining what professionalism looks like for your culture, for your identity, for your space is part of challenging, that professionalism and creating a new structure and a new culture in your workplace environment. How can you show up and do the best work that you do in a way that you feel comfortable and safe? A tip I got from a supervisor once, and it's helped me thus far, was to go in with your story. Share who you are, what connects you to your work, what skills you bring, your experiences, what motivates you, how you navigate challenges. Throw it all out there in the beginning, where when you're finished, you've basically answered all the questions that they were potentially going to ask you. Because one, it avoids that awkward kind of back and forth Q&A, but also it shows you are like confident and ready, and you come prepared and you know your stuff. Good luck to all of you. Congratulations for all of your accomplishments. Sorry this is all happening right now during COVID. I'm sure that's probably changed a lot of things for you, but you're go out there and make your ancestors proud, and don't let anybody dim your light. All right. Positive energy and health your way. Good luck. And once again, congratulations.